Hi everybody, welcome to Unit 8 Lesson 6, Compare Solution Methods for Multi-Step Equations. Okay, so when you get into especially word problems, there are multiple ways that you can solve a problem most of the time. Okay, so in your lesson they go over two different ways. They talk about solving algebraically, and that's where there's an unknown, right? You're using a variable, you're using algebraic terms, and things like that. Solving arithmetically, you know all of the amounts that you need and you just have to solve with those. You're not searching for something new, you're just solving with what you've been given, okay? So you'll see that throughout the lesson as you go through each page, which I definitely encourage you to do, okay? But two of our examples today are going to be from your practice, which is page 15, and they're both word problems, and then one will be more of like an algebraic question at the end. Okay, so let's see, number one, which is also number one on your practice, page 15 of your lesson. You have $25 to spend on snacks for movie night with 4 of your friends. If individual boxes of raisins are $1.50 and all 5 of you want your own box, find the amount of money that remains per person for drinks and popcorn. Okay, so first off, we know several things. We know we have a total of $25, okay? And and this wording, you have to be careful. It says you have $25 to spend on snacks for movie night with 4 of your friends. So you don't want to just solve for 4 people, you want to solve for 5 people, right? Because you don't forget to include yourself in that, right? So there's 5 people total. If individual boxes of raisins are $1.50, right? That means we're getting 5 boxes of them, right? Because it says we each want our own box. So that's one thing that we can figure out is we can say, okay, well, $1.50 times 5. Well, let's see here. Times 2 would be $3, which means times 4 would be $6, and then which means $7.50 would be the amount that we're spending on that. And you can do it on a calculator if you don't want to do it in your head, or you can use the traditional algorithm with multiplying with decimals. Totally up to you. There's lots of different ways to get there. So we know that we are spending $7.50 out of the $25 that we originally got. So then we could subtract the $7.50. Well, let's see what that gives us. So we have 25 minus $7.50. That gives us $17.50. Okay? Okay, so we're at $17.50. That is the amount that is going to be divided among all 5 people to be left for their popcorn and their drink. Okay? This must be a really discounted movie theater because these days it costs a lot more than that. Oops, I shouldn't have deleted that. All right, $17.50. So that's our total, $17.50 divided among 5 people, divided by 5. That gives us $3.50. Okay? So what that tells me is that each person would have $3.50 to spend on popcorn and drink. So this, I used an arithmetic way of solving, right? There's no variables shown there. I used the information that was given to me. Now, we could have done the same thing, but we could have done it algebraically using an equation. I'm going to show you that method as well, and just so you can see, there's more than one way to solve. So first off, I know that I have a total of $25 to spend, and that's going to be made up of raisins, popcorn, drinks, all that stuff, right? Really, it's like 2 different things. Raisins and popcorn drinks, right? Those are like 2 categories that we're spending. Okay, so we know that the raisins costs $1.50. We don't know how much. I'm just going to put P for popcorn. We don't know how much that costs. Okay, but that is for 5 people. This amount needs to be multiplied by 5 because there are 5 people that are going to the movies, right? So if I were to solve this, well, if I'm multiplying the whole thing by 5, in order to get rid of that, I can divide by 5. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So over on the left, those are going to cancel because 5 divided by 5 is 1. So we're just left with $1.50 plus P equals, and then 25 divided by 5 is 5, okay? And then right now I'm adding $1.50, so to get rid of it, I need to subtract $1.50 from both sides. $1.50 minus $1.50 is 0. Those cancel on the left, and I'm just left with the popcorn amount. And then $5 minus $1.50 brings me down to $3.50. So no matter which way we solved it, we were able to get there. But it just depends kind of on like what method you prefer. Okay, that's kind of the point of this, is that there's more than one way to see it, and that's okay. So we both took different order of steps, but we still got to the right answer. All right, let's look at number 2. There are 2 types. Oh, and this is number 4 on your practice. Okay, there are 2 types of tickets to attend an awards dinner: silver and gold. The gold tickets are $8 more than the silver. If Patrick bought 10 tickets each at each level and spent a total of $140, find the price of each ticket. Okay, so with this, there's first off, 2 tickets, right? 2 different types of tickets. And we know he spent a total of $140. Okay? And he bought 10 tickets at each level. All right? So, let's see here. For this, what we can do, for the silver ticket, I'm going to say that the silver ticket is equal to T. Okay? So, the gold ones, though, we know are $8 more than the silver. So we could say that the gold ones are T, right? So it's the price of the silver ticket plus $8 more. Okay, hopefully you're following me so far. So far, all I've done is I've identified my variables. Okay, so that's all I've done. So with that, we know that there are 10 of each. Okay, so we're combining, let's see, we're combining T, and we have 10 of those. And then we have 10 of T. Ooh, I shouldn't have used T, right? It looks like a plus sign. T plus 8. And all of that is, let's see, I'm just making sure that I'm reading it correctly. I did a bad thing and I didn't read it again. If Patrick bought 10 tickets at each level and spent a total of $140, find the price of each ticket. Yeah, so we can do this. All right, so we have 10T plus 10T plus 8. Oops, I'm sorry, plus 80, right? Because that 10 needs to be applied to the 8 as well, equals 140. Okay? Hopefully you're following me so far. I also could have written this step as 10 times T plus 8. Right, so this would have been 2T, and that would have been okay also, all right? So now I can combine my like terms. I've got 10T plus 10T, that's 20T, plus 80 equals 140, okay? And now it's a two-step problem, right? So we can subtract 80, 140 minus 80 is 60. 80 minus 80 is 0. Those cancel, and we're left with 20T. So we're down to just dividing both sides by 20, right? I was multiplying in my problem. To get rid of it, I divide. So that tells me that t is equal to 3, okay? Now, that's not my final answer. We need to find the price of each ticket. Well, we know now, well, if t is equal to 3, that means the silver tickets cost $3, okay? The gold, right, well, that's t plus 8. Well, so 3 plus 8 gives us $11. So gold costs $11. Now, if we were to want to check our work with this, right, and probably don't need my calculator, but we know that he bought 10 of each. Well, 10 gold would be $110, and then silver would be $30. Add those up, you get back to 140. Okay, so this was the part that I really wanted to highlight going over this problem. So make sure if you need to pause it and write all of that down so that you have a good example of that process. All right, number 3 is number 2 on your quick check, so page 16 in your lesson. When solving the equation -1/2 parentheses x plus 10 equals -3, identify the operation that should be done first. Okay, so these are the 4 options that you're given in the multiple choice question. So with this problem, so first I want you to think, well, what am I doing? Right now I'm multiplying the entire thing by -1/2. Well, so that means that's going to be the first thing I'm going to get rid of. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of that, right? So, which would be to divide both sides by -1/2, but that's not one of the options over here, right? There's divide by -2. Well, that's not what I'm doing, right? But you need to remember, when you divide by a fraction, that's the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal, right? Remember, same, change, flip. So if we flip this, right, to get rid of this, we could multiply by -2/1. Well, that's the same thing as multiplying by -2, right? So that one would be the correct answer. We didn't add 10 to anything. Even when we solve, we're not going to add 10. We're going to subtract 10, okay? But that's not the first thing that happens. So those would get canceled out right away. So really it's like deciding which one of these is correct. But hopefully you can see dividing by -2 doesn't make sense. We would have needed to divide by -1/2, okay? So that's why that one gets canceled out as well. All right, guys. Well, I hope this helps, and as always, if you need extra support, just let me know.